There are fairies in the gutter. There must be they come in all kinds.
Is this dead, Mum? Is this dead? Excuse me, love, is this dead, Mum? Is it dead? And my neighbours, Greens from Pie Shop, Auntie Maureen and Ray the barber, who incidentally went on to give me the most horrifying mullet, turned away, embarrassed. Yeah, I shouted over, momentarily breaking away from a spell that I was doing. I was frantically trying to turn some headless pansies and dandelions that had been plonked in this concrete slab into something a bit more inspiring. I weren't doing right well. The council had plonked them there to stop joyriders and quad bikes bombing about down from the estate, equally unsuccessfully. It's knackered, that. It's dead. She caught my eye then and began to shuffle across road towards me. Monstrously wonderful this woman was. Like one of Tolkien's gnomes or witches, all snot and saggy wool tights, a moth-eaten headscarf and red velvet slippers. I thought I were invisible, she grinned, and her pearly white weird false teeth slipped down, making me laugh as I carried on clocking her, weighing her up. No, I says, I can see you. Do you want me to help you bury it? But she said this slowly, drinking me in now. I said, well, wait there, I'll go and ask Delvinder if I can borrow a spade. She said, well, I'll just rob next door to Offie, I'll get you some cider. I said, I don't drink cider, I'm not allowed. I'm only 9. She shrugged, as if, well, that's your lookout. And she met me a few minutes later on a concrete slab, soon to be a burial mound. It were a quirky funeral for a kitten. Poor little mite had shot out into Mosley Street and been splattered by some speeding nutcase, on its way to Kitty Cat Heaven by now, as my Grandma Holden used to say. And I thought that sounded really enchanting, a magical afterlife, chocolate and fluff. So I dug a shallow grave and I got some bedraggled pansies and I made a sort of daisy-like chain, and while I did this she sang the most alarming rendition of These Boots Are Made for Walking by Nancy Sinatra I have ever heard in my life. These boots are made for walking and that's just what they'll do. I should have been terrified of her. I should have run a mile and never looked back. But you see, there was something about her. Something about her eyes that twinkled merrily, clearly with dementia, that betrayed her Baba Yaga bony fingers, her full-on bass voice and her bum-fluff beard. I thought she was fascinating. What's your name? I said, as we skipped on to the reception part of the ceremony. Oh, it's Beatrice, love, just Beatrice. What's yours? I said, it's Ursula. Who? Ursula. What? My mum once read a book, and the woman in the book, she was called Ursula. Ursula Holden Gill. That's my name. Oh, bad move. She looked proper blank now. Oh, well, do you want some cider? No, I've told you I don't want any cider. My grandma's coming soon. She's fetching some tripe for me tea. It'll spoil it. Unconcerned, she took a great slug of the bottle and then wiped her nose and mouth simultaneously on the sleeve, leaving a rather impressive retro Adidas-style track, I thought. And then she screwed on the lid and trundled off. And that was it for that day. But from then, it sort of fell. I began to see Beatrice everywhere, as if she'd been invisible before. Sometimes we'd meet at our concrete slab come burial mound for a quirky rendition of These Boots Are Made for Walking and a cheap bottle of booze. Sometimes I'd see her downtown on a Saturday, wending away through the crowds, round the spiral, down the market, carrying hundreds of carrier bags that mysteriously seemed to contain a zillion more empty carrier bags, invisible to everyone. Everyone except me. It were as if I were wearing that magical fairy ointment and I was straddling two worlds, hers and ours, and I were in danger. I kind of got that. I knew I were in danger of being totally consumed and dragged into her world, because let's face it, we're far more interesting than Blackburn Market of a Saturday. And to keep a tight hold of my Grandma Holden's hand, which I did. I love my Grandma Holden. Well, at first, I just saw Beatrice. But after a bit, I began to notice others like her, hobbits and halflings, all scurrying and chunnering about their secret business. There were loads of them. There were Mad Barry, there were Old Alex, there were Spinning Johnny, there were two sisters, twins. I, very un-PC, call the Friendly Tramps, but this was Blackburn in the 1980s. I were only a kid, not brilliantly educated. They used to meet Beatrice 3 o'clock sharp at Fred's Market Stall Cafe for a cup of tea and a gooey piece of chocolate fudge cake. Within seconds, these girls would clear a corner of the joint. They stank that bad of wee and cauliflower. But you see, to my young mind, it was because nobody knew the right spell, the right magic words to communicate with them. They could communicate with us a bit. I were pretty confident on that. But only me. Yeah, only me, and maybe my Grandma Holden could make it through, could bridge the gap, step through the portal to their side. Well, after weeks of pleasantries and oak-like observation, I decided to put my Grandma Holden to the test. Grandma, I'm starving, I said one Saturday afternoon as I skipped away from the sarsaparilla stall and wended our way towards the fish aisle. You starving? What you starving for? I'm starving for some chocolate fudge cake. I don't see why I should get you any chocolate fudge cake, Ursula and Gill. You haven't eaten your trotters. A word about this. I never was partial to pig's feet for lunch, and though it was years later I became strict vegetarian, I'm quite proud of myself that even back then I was blessed with such a scrap of sense, but of course I didn't want to offend my dear old gran, so I went for the cutesy approach while I still could. Oh, Grandma, please, I'll be good all afternoon, I promise, please. Oh, Ursy, stop mithering. You mither like your mother, you know. Come on then. So I shoulder barged my way to the front of the queue, but my grandma won't push in. So I left her stood with all other suckers, and I went over to greet my new friends, holding my breath so as I wouldn't gag. Hello, Beatrice. Hello, tramps. Is it nice, that chocolate fudge cake? Oh yes, it's lovely this, it's really nice. Would you like a piece? No, thank you. I'm having a full piece all to myself. Grandma, I'm over here. My grandma skipped over the stile, for want of a better expression, before I reached my teenage years, so I never actually got to ask her what the dickens went through her mind that day as she saw her eldest grandchild in the midst of such a coven. I have no doubt that it pushed to the boundaries of her otherwise impeccable vocabulary, but graceful as ever, she glided on over and calmly awaited my hodgepodge introduction. Grandma, this is Beatrice, and these are two tramps, and they meet here every Saturday to drink tea, eat chocolate fudge cake, and talk about magic. Magic? You know any magic? I know a bit. My grandma tells me stuff, and she reads me stories and things she says that. I know a little bit about witches on Pendle Hill and stuff like that, but I want to know more. I'd love to know, what do you carry in them empty bags that you lug around with you everywhere? And when you're talking, even when any one of you are on your own and you're always talking, what is it that you're chuttering under your breath? And there was silence. An awkward silence. Like that kind of silence I used to get when I visited my grandma Holden at the old people's home, and I'd be in a lift and it'd be cramped and it'd be hot and it'd be sweaty and somebody had fought in the lift and everyone had turned and accused me. I felt like that. I could feel myself being pulled through the vortex. I could smell the waft of the fish aisle, the scent of the sarsaparilla stroll. I was losing them. I knew I was losing them forever. And then, Ursula, you ninny! My grandma shot me forward. Remember what I've always said to you. You should know from the stories I tell you. If ladies are carrying seemingly empty carrier bags, well, it could well be brimming with fairy dust. And though you should never, ever, ever accuse a grown-up of chunnering, it could be, very likely, us living near to Pendle Hill and all, that these ladies are just rehearsing their spells and incantations. Be thankful they haven't put one on you. She winked at the women, who, if truth be told, looked a little confused for a second, but then the real magic started to happen. Because they began to laugh and to banter and to bond and communicate. We started to fuse our world. And I left Blackburn Market half an hour later that Saturday afternoon, absolutely buzzing. Result! My grandma Holden is fluent in fairy. Years later, when I was a student down in London, or later still, did a stint working with a charity for the homeless over in Manchester. Individuals like Beatrice, the two sisters, and the other characters I remember from my youth, they resurfaced once more, allowing me to straddle them two worlds again. And I hoped and I prayed, and I still hope and I pray with all my heart that I will never, ever, ever stop. Sometimes I'd be sat perched outside a trendy coffee bar before going on to a club, maybe down in Soho and in London, and I'd be dreaming of Fred's chocolate fudge cake because I couldn't afford to pay a tenner for a piece down here, and I'd see him in the alleyways, the Fisher King himself. Sometimes Queen Mab, or the Kylak, or the Skellig. Magical characters, and I'd wonder what worlds they'd ventured to and where they were going and what they knew, what they could tell me. And sometimes I'd even get talking about the other side, wherever that happened to be that week, as I were handing out sandwiches and sharps down Manchester's Cheetah Mill. And so it was that I learned in adulthood everything my grandma used to say were true as a girl. There's magic everywhere if you look for it, Ursula. You've only to open your mind and see. Just as there were witches once living round Pendle Hill, there are fairies, and they're still there. There are fairies in the gutter.
There are fairies in the gutter. There must be they come in all kinds. Folks will tell you I'm bonkers, but it's just they've closed their minds. And anyway, I've seen them hiding in empty crisp packets, in cobwebs and puddles, it's true. And if you believe in the gutter fairies,